is packed with features that elevate your journey. Enjoy excellent interior build quality designed for comfort and style. Experience an impressively smooth and refined drivetrain powered by a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine with 147 horsepower and 220 newton-meters of torque. Visit us at your nearest dealership and drive away your brand new Haval Jolion. Call us on 0501-772222 or 0501-773333.
The holiday season is here. Enjoy Piva beverages, the perfect fit for the season. Share the joy, share the cheer, and share the moment. Piva, a taste you will love.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. So tonight we have a 3-in-1 show. It's political, it's administrative, it's also legal. So what's the politics? Election 2024 has finished. We would have thought that we would know the composition of parliament, but it's not very clear. Because on our dashboard initially, we had given NDC 182, MPP had around 88 and 4 independents with about 2 to go. But in the previous week, the group called Interested Party 2 to 7, this will be MPP MPs for 6 constituencies, went to a high court to ask the high court to compel the EC to recollate the results of specific constituencies. Well, the EC said they didn't have any opposition to that. So even though the NDC had wanted a hearing in terms of applying to join the process formally, the lawyer was giving a verbal hearing for a few minutes, after which the matter was determined in favor of the 6. Well, the NDC went to the Supreme Court to say this is patently unfair. It violates the law of natural justice. Supreme Court kind of agreed with the NDC and says, look, allow the NDC to be heard in this matter of mandamus. So tonight we'll be speaking to Godwin Edujitamaklo, who was in court arguing at the Supreme Court for NDC to be given a proper hearing. We'll also speak to lawyer Atachia, who is a member of parliament for the constituency that the president hails from. Of course, he will not be in the next parliament. We'll speak to him as well on what is at stake in tomorrow's very important hearing. Godwin, thanks for joining us. Good evening.
Thank you, Bernard. Bernard, I honestly need to thank you for the opportunity.
Okay.
I recall coming here, the previous site, prior to the election, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity, giving us the platform to campaign for H.E. John Dramani Mahama. It appeared the last time I came here, it was election related. I think Jachikwesen or something.
Yes.
And I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, yes. By the way, he won his seat, didn't he?
Yes, comfortably.
Wonderful.
Comfortably.
So I see this as political, administrative, but also legal. So the politics is that we don't know the composition of the parliament yet. What is not clear is how many seats are in contention, because initially EC said there were 9, and then the matter that was sent to the High Court had 6.
Yes.
And now what will be determined tomorrow is 4. So it's very confusing. Do you have, from off the top of your head, the 9 constituencies in question?
Yes, so initially the Ahafano enclave.
North and Southwest.
Yes, that enclave. Edujama, that enclave. Then you have Obuasi East, you have Domekwa Benya, you have Okainkwe Central, Ablekuman North, Tema Central. Those,
and then Techiman South.
And then Techiman South. So those were the claiming that they have invalidated those results. So the next Monday, which was the 16th of December, I filed at the registry of the High Court, the judicial review, that one, the presiding officers and the returning officers make their declaration in respect of those 5. They had become what you say fontus officio. And so if anybody is dissatisfied with it, the person must go to the High Court, pursuant to Article 99, to actually challenge the validity of those declarations. And that was not done. So it was in between. So the next day, which was the 17th, then the 6th MPP parliamentary candidate cause to be issued at the High Court the various mandamus application, which brought about the 20th December hearing and which subsequently resulted in the intervention from the Supreme Court. Okay. So basically that's
where we are. So let me just understand from your own mouth what happened, and I'll speak to Atachian, who is also on.
Very well.
So when the six went to plead this mandamus,
yes,
which was to ask the High Court to direct the EC to recollate or collate,
yes,
you said that you were supposed to have been at least given a chance to join. Absolutely. Because you were also an interested party.
Yes.
The High Court judge disagreed with you.
Yes.
Then you went to the Supreme Court to file what you call a certiorari.
Yes.
To set aside what the High Court had done.
Correct.
Now, from what Justice Puaman read, did they agree with you entirely? Because it seemed as if you got some of the reliefs you wanted and some of them you did not.
So in terms of the substantive application, it has what we call grounds.
All right.
Ground A, B, up to E. Even for me, ground A alone succeeding was enough.
Okay.
However, there were other grounds that we thought we could formulate. But notwithstanding the fact that the court says not enough evidence was provided, it still went ahead to say that the matter be taken away from the judge. That for us is all that we wanted. That at this point, his mind was made up relative to the issues.
Okay.
And so it cannot go back to him.
Okay.
And thankfully, the court agreed with us on that score. But the bigger conversation for us was the issue of hearing. And like I pointed out before the justices of the Apex Court, you see, if you look at what happened in the High Court, Bernard, you have a situation where you call, say, Anodombre, or you call a queer free, and then she's up. Then the lawyers announce themselves. Then the judge asks EC lawyer, are you opposed to the application for mandamus? Then the EC lawyer says, I am not opposed. That for me put me on the on alert that no, it appears.
So if the EC had said they were opposed to this, you would have felt that at least there were two sides in tension.
Yes, because you see the issue with mandamus is that when there is dispute as to whether there is a legal duty to be performed, it's enough to refuse it.
But what if the EC felt that it was very clear that they hadn't performed their function, and therefore, if a party felt that the original...
Then there was no need for the mandamus.
Which means the EC would have had to just correct its own error.
So there was no need for the mandamus. And you see, for me, I saw it as a ruse, a charade. And that, you see, first of all, the Electoral Commission called this affected constituent and said they should come to Tesano. So at that time, the EC had made up its mind to do the recollation or collation. And so the issue that they needed a court order in order to perform that responsibility for us was a ruse. And so immediately my attention was drawn to the fact that the Electoral Commission or the various applicants had put this mandamus application. Immediately I wrote a letter to the registry of the court that I want copies. I personally sent the letter. And once I got the copies, I said, no, this one, it requires me to intervene quickly. And
well, you were given a chance to speak verbally.
Yes.
But you were not allowed to file or put in any formal process.
So you see, usually this is how our processes run. If maybe for whatever is worth, a person may file a process. But once it comes to attention that your interest would be affected, there's something we call joinder. Which allows you to apply to join the process.
Okay.
And so immediately our attention came, we applied to the court that we will not sit down for a decision to be making before we will now try to. So you add us so that you can hear our side before you make any decision. That with respect,
was not
the trial judge didn't agree.
Atachian is MP for Achim South, Buakwa South, forgive me. And he's joining us to also express some views on where we are so far with this interesting situation. Tomorrow, 31st, will be the determination of the original mandamus application with now NDC and some of their parliamentary candidates being represented there. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining the program.
My pleasure, as always.
Hope you are well.
I am very, very well, sir.
I remember when we spoke on radio last week, you said the right forum for all the election dispute should be the courts, and so he didn't understand why there was all the shenanigans at the collation centers. So in a sense, NDC and everybody now being in the same court is good for us, is it not? That now the court will determine the way forward for the outstanding constituencies, correct?
Well, to a reasonable extent, you see, because I always oppose civility and rule of law. So when there is even a very banal dispute, a dispute of no consequence, we resolve it in the court rather than running after each other with clubs, guys, and whatever. But the whole point of the matter is that I do not know the full motivation for anybody to go for a mandamus, as my brother is trying to talk about, because it lies within the power of EC to look at the results again. If it should come to the notice of EC in trying to discharge its constitutional duty that indeed and in fact somebody has been a beneficiary of electoral, violence or fraud, and it is found that, instead of several polling stations being put together, some were left out. The process has not culminated in the gazetting of whoever is alleged to have won. I submit with the greatest respect that the EC, being a constitutional body and a decision maker, can remedy it without any court order. That's my humble view. I keep telling people that if somebody said, I've had a very serious banter with some lawyers, if somebody says that I want to be a beneficiary of that, it is not the total of the pink sheets of all the police stations that are giving me this victory. Then what kind of situation do we have in Ghana? And why should anybody say that, the EC has called us that let's come and look at it again because we've seen some anomaly or even arithmetical error. And the so-called beneficiary says, no, the EC can't look at it again because somebody has declared me as a winner. What if the declaration was founded on an error? Like they didn't have the full complement of the pink sheets coming from the polling station. So for me, I'm of the humble view that even if you want to go to Parliament, it should go beyond controversy. You shouldn't be the one who is profiting from a fraud of an election. I was saying that all the time. Well, what will be your moral justification in sitting in that hallowed chamber? When you didn't win, but for whatever consideration, some people are talking about duress, some people are talking about errors in the computation. Nevertheless, I want to take the seat in the Parliament. So this is where I'm coming from. You owe it to. So for you, the EC oughtn't have even waited for a mandamus from the interested parties. But to the extent that there was a disagreement as to whether what it did or purportedly did prior to the need for recollation was valid, maybe they need a court order to be secure because some people, of course, one party felt that you've declared and we've won. Another party says what was done was not a proper declaration. So to that extent, they needed some impetus. Because there are two groups who believe that what you did was right and what you did was wrong. So it's not as straightforward as that. Listen, it's all gangsterism. So there's this usurpation of the mandate of a constitutional body. You understand? So who are you to determine that what has been declared is the finality of the matter, as far as you are concerned? You understand? Even if there is clear issues of errors, should the errors inure to your benefit? You who is claiming ab initio that you want to fight corruption, how can you be a beneficiary of electoral corruption of this nature? So I don't get the point about listen. The when we meet and we say I've won as the MP for Abu Akasa, do you understand? I should win with arithmetic, not with choboism and gangsterism that people will go and converge at the collation center. No, go this way or go that way. If you've won, go and they look at it again. Oh, the person is won. That is the end of the matter.
Okay, fair enough. Now, moving forward, the mandamus was moved and the court agreed, albeit the other party, being the NDC, had wanted to file a joinder And the High Court judge did not think it was necessary. So the NDC went to court, Supreme Court, for a certiorari, which succeeded largely in part. What do you make of that, though? The fact that, yes, they've gone to court with a mandamus, and yet an interested party was not allowed to join. Of course, the Supreme Court felt that was wrong.
I want to tell you now, I'll say it anyway, the judges are prone to errors.
Okay.
Unless you can prove palpable mischief. Somebody was arguing that when you join, you become a relevant party to the action. Relevant. And somebody was arguing that, what is the relevance of you coming to join? Do you join to block a mandamus application to say that no, EC should not do his constitutional work? That will be a mischief of the highest order. But be that is as it may, the Supreme Court has said that, look, they have an ultimate advantage one way or the other, so bring them in. They should go in and whatever they want to canvass for the joinder, they should canvass it. And as to whether or not it is somebody who's going to say that, look, by reason of the joinder, I am of the humble view that the mandamus is redundant and you can't come out and issue an order of mandamus. They should go and canvass their position. That's the beauty of the law. Go and canvass your position before the judge. But the Supreme Court has spoken. And let's go by what the Supreme Court has said. And then let's see how, in the final analysis, anybody can seriously say that I wouldn't want EC to do its work, even if there's a palpable, egregious error
I see.
in terms of the computation. And somebody is very, very, very happy to be the beneficiary of electoral corruption of this nature. We will see.
Final point before I go for my first break. A lot of what you said in the first part of my question and this one would be true, especially if all sides think that the referee is objective. I think in the first point, one side thinks the EC is not being fair to them, and even to an extent in the second point as well, the NDC felt like the High Court judge was not being fair, was biased against them. So it seems as if, yes, the court will have to decide, but there has to be a certain perception of objectivity and fairness, which is unfortunately the EC from one side is not perceived to be so. So it makes this quite complicated, doesn't it?
It doesn't make it any complicated. You understand? That sense of fairness, you should show that the EC is embarking on a journey to subvert, the constitutional process. You see? But if you are dissatisfied with coming to, validate elections that you claim you've won, and you have developed an allergy to that process, you talk about EC being biased. How can you say I've won elections, and somebody saying that, look, I don't think so, by reason of
Hello again, grateful for your time. As established earlier, we promised to take you to Parliament for the dissolution of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic. This will be the last sitting of the House, presided over by Speaker Alban Kingsford Sumana Bagman. So let's cross over to Parliament and enjoy proceedings.
That page 7, yes, page 7, page 8, page 8, page 9, page 9, page 10,
Page 11. Yes, Honourable Member.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, page 11, item number 10, last line, Okankwe Central. Okankwe was not correctly spelled. And Mr. Speaker, consequentially, in item number 11, the last line, again, it was repeated. So if the correction could be done consequentially. Thank you.
Table office kindly take note of that. Page 12. Page 13. Page 13, yes, please.
Right Honourable Speaker, with your indulgence, I want to go back to page 9.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, paragraph 14, remarks by leadership. Roman numeral 1. The Honourable Deputy Minority Leader and member for Elembele, Mr. Emmanuel Amakofibua, thanked HE, the President, for delivering his message on the state of the nation to the House. He stated a number of projects and policies.
Where are you talking about?
Page 9.
Of
paragraph 14.
Of which
Second.
No, we are dealing with Thursday, 2nd January.
Okay. When we get there, I'll deal with the matters.
Okay. Page 13. Page 14. Honourable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 2nd January 2025 are hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. We now move on to the votes and proceedings of Friday, 3rd January 2025, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7. Yes, page 7.
Mr. Speaker, page 7, item 4, number 3. On Friday, I was present, but I've been marked absent.
The honourable member for German North, please. Table of his kindly take note. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Sorry, page 9. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I earlier on tried to draw attention to what I believe to be an inaccurate reportage of what happened that day. If you read paragraph 14, Roman numeral 1, says the Honourable Deputy Minority Leader and member for Elembele, Mr. Emmanuel Amakofibua, thanked HE, the President, for delivering his message on the state of the nation to the House. He stated a number of projects and policies of the outgoing government, which, in his opinion, could have been done differently. So, Speaker, we're all in this chamber. And this is not what Honorable Amakofibua said. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that this report is misleading.
What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? What did he say?
You want me to repeat all the things he said?
Yes, please.
Speaker, I am a bit taken aback by the comment of my senior colleague. This is votes and proceedings, and he knows well that that will find expression in the Hansard. I think that you are unnecessarily trying to breed controversy. So Hansard will capture him as he said it. And I don't know if you want to advertise your bid for the majority leadership. Is that how you are going to rehearse it? So unfortunate. He is completely out of order. And I invite you to rule him out of order. This is votes. This is votes and proceedings. This is what the Hansard.
Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, what Honorable Ayariga said is perfectly right. Honorable Ama Kofibua talked about, he read a quotation from the book of Exodus, and then he talks about some Egyptians. Those were not government policy. Those were not government policies or projects. He also I'm only saying that the quotation from the book of Exodus and then the Egyptians are not neither project or policies of government. That is all I'm saying. That if somebody make reference to the Bible, it is not government policy. So the votes and proceedings should have captured it differently. I'm not disputing the fact that certain things happen. But Mr.
Yes,
Speaker, the bottom line is he doesn't want us to repeat them, so we will not repeat them. It's in the hands.
Honorable members, table office will kindly take note and make a review of the summary of what was said that day. But I prefer the word mentioned than stated. He mentioned a number of projects, not stated a number of projects. Honorable members, yes, Honorable Dafiamapo.
Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker, I don't recall my leader in thanking the president mentioning project. He said a lot of things. If the table office intended to
Honorable member, I've given my
very well,
directives.
very well. Speaker, we are guided.
They should go and review the
thank
summary,
you very much.
because it's a summary of what was said. So I said they should go and review it and capture it properly.
Speaker, I'm guided. Thank you.
Honorable members, yes, Honorable Ablakwa.
I'm going to write on speaker. Write on speaker. Permission to take you back to page 8. Item number 8, VI. My good uncle, Mr. Samu Kujato Sr., his designation has been presented here as only the representative of the chairman of the Council of State, but he is also a member of the Council of State. So that should be properly captured. Member of the Council of State and representative of the chairman of the Council of State. And
yes,
then, Mr. Speaker,
item number... You are right. It will be noted. Yes.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. And then, Mr. Speaker, item number VIII, Nana Kunedu Ajiman Rawlings. We have here spouse of the former president, Mr. Jerry John Rawlings. Mr. Speaker, consistency is missing. For the earlier, if you, Mr. Speaker, respectfully pay regard to item number I and II, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, we have spouse of His Excellency the President, Hajia Mrs. Samira Baumia, spouse of His Excellency the Vice President. So why is former President Rawlings described as Mr. and not His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings? So for consistency, if we are according them the respect they deserve, let's be consistent. It should be spouse of the former president, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, as we have done for the others. So respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Table office, kindly take note. In the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of Friday, 3rd January 2025 are hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Honorable members, please direct that the House should reconstitute itself into a closed sitting. The House should reconstitute itself into a closed sitting. Please, Marshal Office, please. We don't have much time.
Speaker Alban Bagman, after having taken the vote of proceedings of the House, directing that the House convenes or reconvenes into a closed session, will be here monitoring and, of course, bringing you up to speed. Remember that this is the dissolution of the 8th Parliament, and so this will be the last sitting of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic, chaired or presided over by Speaker Alban Bagman. He has directed that the House goes into a closed sitting, and so stay with us here on Channel 1 television. Once they reconvene into an open sitting, we'll take you back to Parliament and bring you proceedings from the floor.
Get ready for a day of gratitude and nostalgia at the Swesco Annual All-Year Group's Thanksgiving and Remembrance Service. Join us on Sunday, January 19th, 2025 at the Ice.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
A drink, a taste you will love.
P for Piva.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, are you ready for a show that the whole family can enjoy? On our fun educational adventures as we discover interesting places, meet amazing people like a pilot, a soap maker, a chocolate maker, and more. That's not all. You will learn about our culture, explore musical instruments, symbols, and cloth, learn all about Kente, gather around and listen to our folk tales, and discover the interesting history behind our stories.
Wow, this show is really informative.
Yeah. We'll also have fun experiments, whoa, and lots of art activities.
Look at my spider.
So beautiful.
You definitely don't want to miss the Wonder Space Show with Miss Natalie.
Wonder Space.
Watch the Wonder Space Show on Saturdays at 12 noon only on Channel 1 TV.
Congratulations.
Me are very, very okay.
Sophia Cha.
What's it?
Medibone.
Akwata binya krasa ufie popo weningwasi ya wati. Ate sinipa ndeko so aware no. Emma to ne, Emma to snap socket. Trusted by blood.
Hello, are you ready for a show that the whole family can enjoy? Join us on our fun educational adventures as we discover interesting places, meet amazing people like a pilot, a soap maker, a chocolate maker, and more. That's not all. You will learn about our culture, explore musical instruments, symbols and cloth, learn all about Kente, gather around and listen to our folk tales and discover the interesting history behind our stories.
Wow, this show is really informative.
Yeah. We'll also have fun experiments. Whoa! And lots of art activities.
Look at my spider.
So beautiful.
You definitely don't want to miss the Wonder Space Show with Miss Natalie.
Wonder Space.
Watch the Wonder Space Show on Saturdays at 12 noon only on Channel 1 TV.
Welcome back. So tonight on The Point of View, we are trying to understand what is at stake in the High Court, where two sides are arguing over essentially what is 4 constituencies. Now we know that the Insal Madrejiri has been excluded because there wasn't a proper collation and declaration prior to all these legal challenges. Obuasi, actually, yes, so that was one of the key ones. The 4 outstanding to our knowledge, definitely Okankwe Central, then we have Ablekuma North, and then we have Techiman South, and then Tema Central. Those are the 4 in question. Now, Honorable Tachia, so what is emerging is that the same High Court judge had 2 cases in front of him. The NDC rep says they filed first, asking that the recollation happening in Tesano should stop. The MPP goes for Mandemus and says EC should be compelled to do his job. I'm not a lawyer. It would have been interesting to see whether the judge could have just joined the 2 cases and made a simple determination. But he chose to do the Mandemus one first without allowing the NDC to join. And then the NDC matter was also heard. The EC did not file in opposition, but the NDC was dismissed. I mean, for a lawyer like you, again, the Supreme Court has already adjudicated on this, but I still want your view. If you look at the way the sequence, I filed first, and I'm asking for something to stop. Somebody's filed after me, and the person who's filed after me rather has his matter heard first. I'm not allowed to be heard in his matter, and then my matter is dismissed. That seems patently unfair, doesn't it?
Well, I am of the humble view. I'm not trying to be political at all. I'm trying to be very legal, you see. I'm of the humble view that if it is before the same judge, and I don't know whether it is before the same judge.
It was.
The judges have the power to manage their cases. So there can be 2 concurrent applications. One was first in time, but the judge can say, I want to hear this one first. And there have been several occasions that the judges have done that. What I believe is very critical for everybody to look at is that the judges have a right to go right, and they also have a right to go wrong. So when the judges go wrong, imputations of bias, unfairness, and colors, and the rest of them do not aid in the adjudication process. Then let me tell you what has happened. Would you say that the Supreme Court, which was lambasted, is now good because Kwama was presiding? It's only when you take a benefit from a particular judge and the judiciary is sound. That's how you run the system. We shouldn't go there. So today, I'm not going to say that, the decision that, you should go and be heard properly because there was violation of the Aldi Alternative Patent rule. You see, that rule, which is so fundamental to law, is wrong because I am at the end of the joke. I didn't win. There's an absurdity in going about that way that we pick and choose. When we win, the judiciary is good. When we lose, the judiciary is bad. So that is where I want us to go. But right now, if you ask me that whether or not the judge was wrong in determining which of the motions that should be heard first, that is his discretion. You see? And then do the that the judges are always right.
Okay.
That assumption is wrong. So they have the appellate processes and the rest of them. And if you believe that you've been given a shabby treatment in terms of the interpretation of the law and the application, you come out with imputations of bias and unfairness and the rest of it. So right now, the MPP should be saying that the Supreme Court was unfair. Now go back and hear the mandamus. If they started doing that, they don't understand due process and adjudication.
How do you think the mandamus complexion has changed with what has happened? Because even though the Supreme Court judge did not agree with the NDC on the allegation of bias, you can say they tacitly did by saying that the mandamus should be heard by a different judge or a judge in a different court. So that, in a sense, they are saying we don't have time to hear the accusations against bias, but let's go to a different court so that we are all clear. Number two, what kind of pressure do you think this puts on the new judge now, with all that's gone on? You know, having to have this very politically charged matter be heard, and it's going to be live on television because now they've allowed television cameras in there. They've also done abridgment, so now we're going to have filing today, hearing tomorrow. That's a lot of pressure on the court. I mean, as an officer of the court, how do you suppose this is going to play out?
Well, in the first instance, it happens all the time.
Okay.
You have tinkered with a case, you understand? You've taken a position, and therefore, by reason of the position, you shouldn't look at the case. Let somebody who's not taking a decision at all look at it again.
Okay.
I think it accords with common sense and also the fairness of the case. If not, you talk about you can't straighten up a hunchback. If the man believes that, oh, what I did was right, irrespective of what the Supreme Court said, you might have, a bad result for somebody. So going to a different judge is a way that the judiciary has been doing that. Look, so long as you've had, some kind of, experience with a particular case, and you got it wrong from the perspective of the Supreme Court, they won't let you continue. So what is the tension in this matter on the judge? The judge is sitting in respect of just one case. It's not, the mountain of cases that the judges are so inundated with, about 63 cases and the rest of it. It's just one. What I expect to happen is the judge himself, by now, might have read what the Supreme Court said, and he knows the law about mandamus and the principles that inform mandamus. So let him come and do the argument, and he will give a decision. But if you ask me sincerely, then what is the mandamus going to do? By reason of the fact that the constitutional body has a mandate to correct errors. When you say there's a mandamus on, the Parliament to pass bills. It sounds a bit absurd, because that is their remit. They themselves know that the Parliament does not exist. To go and dig graves in the cemetery. They are supposed to sit and pass bills into law.
Wonderful.
So stating the obvious to the EC with the greatest of respect, I don't want to sort of interfere with what is about to happen. It's a bit comical for me.
Wonderful.
They know what to do when something is wrong. And I've heard about people talking about duress and the rest of it, and the rest of it, and the rest of it, and the rest of it. Look, you need to prove duress and whatever you have to prove.
Okay.
But I don't want to go into duress. I want to go into arithmetic. Would you be the beneficiary of a position that the police station, the constituency, did not accept you? Are you happy with it?
Fair enough.
And then it is shown that some of the pink sheets didn't go in your favor. That when you put it together, the culmination that you didn't win.
All right.
How can this be offensive to anybody of sound mind and rationality?
I'll come back to you on Domi Kwabenya later, but let me just come to Eduji. So what is your understanding of what is to be determined tomorrow? So the original mandamus application that is number 2 to 6 filed, the MPP candidates, but now 2 are out in Sama Dredgery.
No, so I think you see tomorrow's matter, because I'm lawyer on record, I'm being cautious here. You see, it's a very simple issue, one issue. Okay, I say there had been declarations. you see, Mylene Senior Abujinapo Samuel was declared the winner. However, it is also admitted that there were issues that happened to the point that the EC office there was burnt down, right? So on what basis the EC proceeded to do ABC? 2, the Electoral Commission itself had appointed returning officers for all constituencies pursuant to Regulation 2 of CI 127. The person who declared Abujinapo the winner was not the returning officer. Is it permissible? Can it be done? Can somebody else? Remember, for presidential elections, Madam Jane Mensah is the returning officer. Can somebody else, a returning officer from a constituency, come out and say, I'm declaring the president of the republic? So elections are just not about numbers. In fact, if you recall, in 2013, election petition filed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Jacob Echebilamte, may his soul rest in peace, and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. One of the major issues raised was that on the face of the pink sheets, presiding officer did not sign. They were not looking at the numbers. They were looking at the legality. So when Mylene Senior says it is a simple question of numbers, with the greatest respect to him, we are not doing justice to.
So you are saying how we arrive at the numbers is important.
And that is why in 20, and he was passed.
Council, with the greatest of respect to you, are talking out of context. Let me tell you the issues that people are running away from. You understand? The issues people are running away from is that this time around, not the Akufo-Addo extrapolation by way of the petition that you are talking about. This time around, can you imagine that somebody was declared, the MP elect, when the whole gamut of the pink sheets were not available? Can you come to terms with that? So please, don't try to box the issues. And the context of what we are saying is that when they talk about this recollation, which I believe that is even an anomaly and a misnomer, it's you saying that, look, when we look at the pink sheets from all the polling stations, you didn't win. It's not saying that somebody didn't sign. And if even the returning officer so-called, you understand, is a harbinger of this fraud, and it's been discovered by the one who gazette you into Parliament, how can you rubber stamp the fraud? That's the problem. That's the problem. So at the end of the day, if the EC is just in the process of trying to gazette somebody, and the EC should see that irrespective of whoever declared somebody a winner, there's a palpable error in the collation. Do you think the EC should be impotent not to correct it? And it takes mandamus for EC to think right? This is not the way.
So Bernard, and I like the point where my senior now comes to the realization that this is not a simple mandamus and say you are just compelled, go and do ABC.